The dark side of communism, a warning for social justice activists. For advocates committed to equality and human rights, communism may seem like an ally against oppression. Yet history shows us a darker reality: regimes that persecuted the very populations modern activists seek to defend. Let's examine this record carefully. Our first case study is racial and ethnic minorities. Under Stalin's collectivization, millions starved, and many were from minority communities. Throughout the Soviet Union and Mao's China, class enemy labeling swept up entire ethnic groups. In Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge carried out ethnic cleansing against Vietnamese and Khmer Muslims. What began as promises of equality too often became systematic persecution. Next, faith. Communist ideology viewed religion as an obstacle to the revolution. Churches, mosques, and temples were forcibly closed or repurposed. Clergy were imprisoned, executed, or coerced into renouncing their beliefs. Religious charities and sacred texts were banned, cutting off entire communities from the support networks they relied on. State atheism meant that practicing faith became a crime. In the USSR, homosexuality was criminalized until 1993, with sentences that included hard labor. In 1960s Cuba, gay men were sent to UMAP forced labor camps. During the 1970s and 82nd, psychiatric treatments branded queer identity as bourgeois decadence. Despite modern associations of leftist politics with LGBTQ+ rights, historical communist regimes were profoundly homophobic. Communism touted gender equality, but in practice families were disrupted. During purges, children of so-called enemies were separated and raised by the state, leaving lifelong trauma. China's one-child policy enforced forced abortions and sterilizations. Romania's ban on abortion produced thousands of orphans, and women bore a double burden, expected to work full-time while performing all domestic duties. Creative voices suffered under one-party rule. All media required state approval. Censorship was absolute. Intellectuals faced show trials and gulag sentences for wrong thinking. Artistic expression was limited to socialist realism. Experimental or dissenting work was condemned as counter-revolutionary. Yet from these brutal conditions arose some of the 20th century's greatest dissidents. Independent farmers and entrepreneurs were branded class enemies or kulaks. Their land and businesses were confiscated, and many were deported to remote labor camps. In worst cases, mass executions and deliberate starvation wiped out entire communities. The abolition of private enterprise destroyed livelihoods, making millions dependent on the state's whims. Finally, the paradox: over 100 million lives lost under 20th century communist regimes, 7 major vulnerable groups systematically targeted, and 0 examples of communist states protecting minority rights. For today's activists, this history presents a stark contradiction. Critique of capitalism does not require embracing authoritarian communism. Truly effective social justice must be grounded in human rights,